He comes to you.
Yeah, I'm new at I just started
Look,
growing roses last year, so it was all new to me.
I was the president of the Rose Society in Florida for 5 years in a row, and I used to enter the contest, and then they said you can't enter anymore. Oh yeah, I used to grow this, it was called voodoo. It was actually a burgundy, but it was really like black. Then it would turn deep burgundy, you know, beautiful. And I love roses, but you have to do them organically, and the bugs just don't know what to do with it, because the bugs are geared to respond when things, you know, when things trigger them off to do that. See, you're not going to get a bug walking around looking for trouble. You know what I mean? You'll find it. Like the sick wolf doesn't have to do very much to figure out which is that one to go after.
What would you recommend if I were to get something for the ground? Then
yeah, what do we feed them?
What do I feed them? It's got to be something simple, because I don't live in the country or the rural area. I'm all concrete.
First,
my concrete.
you just have to find a good. For example, I have one that's for roses. This is bloom. Find yourself a good organic fertilizer, for starters. Find yourself a source of compost. Most stores sell them, one place or another, where nurseries or whatever, right? You can go to the H Home, that one place, right? Right? I can't hear.
Sewer sludge.
Sewer sludge, yeah. And most manure on the market, and actually they don't tell you. There's this one company, sounds like your breakfast cereal. You know the one I'm talking about.
Kellogg's.
That's it!
That's what I use.
You have to cut it out, Jeff.
Sorry.
I get tired. I get sued by them a lot, okay? Because this stuff is all sewer sludge. It's all human poo-poo. It's supposed to say, warning, do not use some free trees and benzoyl. Warning, do not use it if you're pregnant. Warning, do not use it for seniors. Warning, don't use it near the ocean. Warning, don't use. You know what I'm saying? Instead, they took it out because people stopped buying it. And then the tiny little print says, go to our website for more information. Okay, and that's sewer sludge. You don't want it.
I shouldn't use it. You know, it said natural.
Of course, sewers, how more natural can poo-poo be? It's natural, right? Yeah. So you read the ingredients, and you ask the person, does this have sewer sludge in it? And they say, no, great. Earthworm castings is one of the best you can get.
What's it called?
Earthworm castings.
Is the lady over here selling worms?
Yeah, the lady over there selling earthworm
What do I
castings.
do with them?
You feed your plants with it. You make
I
it.
just dump them.
It looks like
a
a dirt.
It
Right.
doesn't look like a punch.
Yeah, and what you do is you can.
Worms are not.
No, you don't buy. You're not buying the worms. Even though you could buy worms and bury them, but they probably will die. But if you have a good environment, it's survive. Just get the earthworm poo-poo. And you know, there's a difference in earthworm poo-poo. You know, because some earthworms they heat up, the castings they heat up, and that kills the eggs. And you want the ones that don't heat up, because then you have the eggs and you have earthworms.
She said it's so fresh there might be worms inside.
Okay, so is that the fertilizer?
That's not your fertilizer.
That's
No,
not
no, ma'am. That's like just like.
Compost.
That's like compost.
Okay,
Compost is not
okay.
your fertilizer, see? Compost is not your fertilizer. And it's wrong to add chemical fertilizer to the compost to make that work. Compost is just your basic, it's compost. It's a really good soil amendment, rich with bacteria and all that stuff. It will have some food, but you need to still come up with a good organic fertilizer one way or another. We have to go? 3 minutes? Good. Good. Young man, aren't you too young to be here? Where's your parents? Where's your parents?
My son, we bought a lemon tree for him a couple
Yeah.
years ago. It was full of lemons. We're out of Michigan. Anyway, he planted in his backyard, and it doesn't look that good anymore. So I'm just wondering, is it?
Leaves are curling?
Yeah, I have that.
If your leaves are curling, that's because, for starters, it's been global warming thing. The temperatures have gone up just a little bit to where the diseases.
A whole lot of sun. I'm just wondering, is it between the?
You need a lot of sun. It needs at least 8 hours of sun, otherwise it'll get sickly and it'll just take a long time to die on you. But if it's getting a lot of sun, it loves the coffee grinds. It loves the good compost. It loves the good deep watering, not all the time. And for the diseases, you spray with milk. Milk is wonderful to control any other disease.
Low fat or whole?
The more fat, the better, because the fat works on the disease. It's an oil that coats the
And that's
diseases.
any plants, roses too? I can do
Roses love it. It'll get rid of all the powdery mildew. It'll get rid. And on tomatoes, you've heard about those tomato diseases go around. Like 20,000 tomatoes died. They weren't grown organically, by the way. They have this disease. Well, guess what? You can spray on them. Okay, milk.
Worms, the tomato
tomato worm, what, do anything with the tomato worm, run them off?
The way you do it, what you do with the tomato worms is make sure you keep their mineral levels high, the sugar levels up. The tomato worms can't handle that sugar. When it drops down below a certain level, whoo, it's food. It's just carbohydrates. It's just what they need, you know. But if it has a sugar in there and the sugar level rises, that's Mother Nature's way of protecting, keeping. The hornworm says, I am not going to, as a matter of fact, the mother of the hornworm, I'm not going to lay my babies there because it's not good food for them. I got to find, oh look, no sugar. Great, wonderful, see?
Grape worms, my grapes last year, covered in
Same thing, if you're not taking care, usually everything on your property has to do with the same thing. It's all connected, right? Trace mineral deficiency. That's what it comes down to. That means that you don't have the bacteria in the minerals because the bacteria eats the minerals and the poo-poo of the bacteria is what everything else eats. See? That's the way it normally works in a rainforest and so forth. Are we done? It's another class after this?
When you buy fertilizer, they say 3 numbers. What do you look for in the numbers? You said that the nitrogen
Yeah,
should be
those
low.
numbers throw me, I don't understand any. of
Don't
it.
worry about the numbers organically.
Oh, so nitrogen you said,
Don't worry about the numbers organically. Anything grown organically will have low numbers compared to the way it's done chemically. Other than maybe my stuff, because I've learned how to get the numbers up without using the chemicals, without the urea. They say urea is natural. There is a source of natural urea, but that's
What is urea? Because I thought it was related to urine.
exactly right. But then they take the urine. They say, okay, the urine is good, so let's just make something even better. Let's make this chemical form, which is 4500.
Which is
Urine.
hormone therapy.
Right, which is urea in animals is like 222 or something. You know, it's got bacteria in that.
grass with the green spots where the neighbor's dog feeds.
Yeah, see, and you can, in the farm, people use your urine for lots of things. I remember in Cuba, the cow would pee. We take the pee and spray it around other plants and whatever. But that's different than the chemical urea. That's it, I think. Go ahead. Last question.
Maybe I could sidebar you or something.
Sidebar. I'm going to be right over there. I will try to sell some T-shirts and hats. I need to feed my wife and children, so any money.
When you buy organic
Are we done
soil,
yet? Yeah.
it has nitrogen in it or not? 'Cause you said-
It has a small amount of nitrogen in it. Compost will have a small amount of nitrogen because the bacteria will produce the nitrogen. But you do need to come up with something to provide the nitrogen on some kind of regular basis.
Isn't
Coffee.
it true soil needs to have nitrogen, it needs phosphorus?
Needs all of those things. See, over 78 different minerals in these.
Well, like, what are the 4 most common? It's usually listed on-
Potassium, phosphorus, nitrogen,
Potassium.
calcium.
Nitrogen's first listed.
Is that still on?
Yeah.
It's still,
Nitrogen is the first number.
you go to the places
Two
that
highs
climbs up the
really
trees.
was
Yeah, that's wood chips.
Stay away from it.
first number is the
What's the center one?
the second.
Nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. Nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. That's not the really ones which you need. It's just training you to buy their chemicals. You need over 76 different of those. It should say nitrogen. It should say 1, 1, 2, 4, 5, 9, 8, 2, 2, 3, 20. All the way to 96 of them.
Multivitamin.
Yeah, right. You should have all those things on. Just because you think you need those 4, nitrogen is not exactly what you really need.
How about bone meal?
Well, I stopped using bone meal because of the bone and blood meal because of the mad cow. Where do you think it's come from? It's from the sick. You have to give me an A, otherwise. Thank you.
You're an A+ right now.
Yeah, man.
No chemicals to make the earth sick. Don't panic, it's organic. The way that nature intended it. So for advice to help your plants, why not give Andy's way a chance? You mainly control all pesky elements. He'll even teach you how to dance with ants, so don't panic. It's organic. No chemicals to make the earth sick. No panic. It's organic. The way that nature intended it.